Hello, this is Joseph at Lightspeed. So this is a common customization that will sometimes add on to reports for customers, recreated sell-through. There is an out-of-box sell-through report that you can get in analytics, but sometimes it's not fully available for all the different types of analyses that stores want to do. So there's a bit of a custom workflow that you can use with recreated sell-through, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how to use that and what to expect from it. So it's important to understand that recreated sell-through is not necessarily the same thing as actual sell-through for a couple of reasons. First of all, recreated sell-through does not see the quantity of items that were received over time. So if I'm creating a opening count that looks at 2 months worth of inventory, I'm not able to distinguish what actually came for stock during that time. So it might not be the actual sell-through, but it's still a way to think about how well certain products are selling and how much stock you might need to meet anticipated demand. Secondly, recreated sell-through cannot account for adjustments. So if during that time frame, if you actually had to correct the valuation of inventory as Lightspeed saw it, there's no way really that recreated sell-through would be able to see that. Finally, depending upon the data that you're using in your report, whether it's a sales report or an inventory report, there's a varying understanding of what the quantity on hand implies. Most notably, on a sales report, the quantity on hand is only for items that sold, whereas on an inventory report, it's considering the entire inventory, whether it's sold or not. So this is the simple formula that creates recreated sell-through. It's the quantity sold divided by the quantity sold and the quantity on hand. This is how we're sort of able to recreate an opening count. Analytics does not see inventory history, so we cannot see what was the inventory like 1 month ago. But we can sort of recreate it by looking at what remains in stock now and what left stock during that time frame. So let's try to build this. Let's begin by looking at a sales report. So here we are in our sales and inventory reports. Let's start a new sales report by clicking on the green Create a Report button, and this will bring up a blank set of sales data. We'll begin by adding some item dimensions. Let's say perhaps the item system ID. While we're here, let's also add the quantity on hand. Let's add some filters for the report for the sale date. Perhaps we could look at sales, let's say, from the past 30 days. Finally, we'll go to the sale line, dimensions and measures. Let's open up the totals and we'll add the total quantity sold. Let's run. So now we see for this report, each one of the items' quantity on hand and the quantity that's sold over the past 30 days. Now sell-through is a function of the quantity that's sold divided by the opening count. We can't see the opening count because analytics doesn't see inventory history, but we could sort of recreate it by adding the quantity that's sold to the quantity on hand. To get an idea about that number, let's go up to our custom fields and we'll create a new table calculation. I'm going to start typing the quantity, and we see quantity on hand come up here. And then we'll add the quantity that's sold. I'm going to start looking for quantity again, and we see quantity sold it here. Let's call this recreated opening count, and we'll save. So for example, we can see this item has 1,600 quantity on hand. It sold 94 over the past 30 days. So before these 30 days had passed, its recreated opening count could have been 1,756. For the reasons we mentioned earlier, this is not guaranteed to have been the opening count, but it's a way that we can think about the likely volume at the beginning of the count. So let's go back to our calculation and we'll edit it. Now this is an important part. We're going to be dividing the quantity that's sold by this recreated opening count, keeping in mind that the order of operations will do division before addition. What we need to do is surround this function by brackets. This way, the recreated opening count will be considered one number. Let's look for the quantity that's sold, and we'll divide it by the recreated opening count. Now this becomes recreated sell-through. Let's also change the formatting while we're here. Let's make this a 2 decimal percentage number, and we'll save. So now we see here a recreated sell-through percentage. For example, this top product here, 94 items sold in the past 30 days, but there remains about 1,600 in stock. Relatively, about 5% of our stock has sold. Further down here, we see that this particular item sold 65 over the past 30 days, and there remain about 400 in stock. So this item's sell-through over that 30-day time frame has been about 13%. Now, if we want to do a recreated sell-through report at a higher level than the item, sometimes it can be better to use an inventory model such as Dusty. Let's say we wanted to do a recreated sell-through report by the category. Let's go to the Dusty options, and we'll look for Dusty inventory by top category. Now let's change the filters to make it a full inventory report. Quantity on hand is greater than 0, we'll remove. Also, item metrics is Dusty, we'll remove 2. So now, if we open the data and run the report, this should be a complete inventory report. Now we can remove some of these measures. We don't really need the total cost, we don't need the days since sold, and we don't need the days since received. What we do want to add, though, in the sale line metrics, in the totals, are the quantity that's sold. Also, let's filter on the completed date again. We'll say the sale line completed date is in the past 30 days. Let's run. So now we could see the total quantity that's sold by category, and we have the remaining quantity on hand by category. Let's go up to the custom fields, and it will create a new table calculation. We'll say quantity that's sold divided by opening brackets, quantity that's sold plus quantity on hand. And this is our recreated sell-through. Let's make that a 2 decimal percentage, and we'll save. So now we have the recreated sell-through showing us a conceptual velocity by top-level category. So thank you for watching this video. You can find more resources on analytics here in the Video Help Center and also in our analytics section on Community.